Amazon với mức giá cực kỳ ưu đãi như đăng ký brand với USBTO, từ Thêm, từ chơi cao, logistics và warehouse. Xem hình thông tin chi tiết dưới phần mô tả nhé.
All right, so what's up, guys? This is Brett here from FBA Excel. Before we get started, I just want to thank you for registering. Hopefully by the end of this challenge that you're going to walk away with a few nuggets that you can start implementing immediately in your Amazon PPC. Bulk operations is pretty insane once you really harness the power of it. And I think some of the stuff you're going to see today in this challenge is going to definitely open your eyes to that. So to get started, you should have already logged in to the members area and ran through steps 1, 2, and 3. So if you haven't done that yet, go back and do that and then come back to this video. Otherwise, let's get after it. All right, so if you're coming over from the step 3 here where you downloaded the files, you should now have them in your Ad Tactics folder here. So just kind of recap that. You've got My Drive, FBA Excel Tools, and then Ad Tactics, which was generated automatically when you authorized it. And then within the Ad Tactics Data New folder, you should have the test files here. So these are going to be all the ones we're working with here in the challenge demo. So we're just going to hop now back into Ad Tactics, and this is going to be pretty much the main focus of this video, is to show you how to set up Ad Tactics and really harness the power of it right from the get-go, and just really get some quick wins, quick direction, quick insights onto what you can do to improve your Amazon PPC account. So I'm not going to have a lot of theory behind this training. It's going to be more straight and to the point. Do this, do this, do this. And then by the end of it, you'll have learned quite a few things that I guarantee you didn't know before you started. So just trust me and bear with it and just follow along. Definitely, I would recommend using the test files so you can do a carbon copy of what I'm doing. And then after that, you can go back and do it on your own files in your own account. We've got some additional training that I'll be posting in the members area down here towards the bottom with SOPs on how you can, download some of the files in your account and mimic what we're doing. So without further ado, the first step you're going to do once you have all the demo files saved is you're just going to come up to File, Import. And this should open your Google Drive. All right, you can actually click up here and it puts it in a list format. I like that a little better. We're going to go to FBA Excel Tools, and we're going to go to Ad Tactics, and then we're going to Ad Tactics Data New, and that's where we saved our test bulk file. So that's the first thing we're going to want to import here. And you go Insert New Sheet, Import Data, and just give this about 10 seconds or so. You'll see some tabs populate here at the bottom. So we have our bulk file in there now. The next step is we're going to go back to the Settings tab here. It's the little gear icon in the bottom left, and I'm going to scroll down just to kind of show you this Supplemental Reports hub. There's various supplemental reports that you can use to complement your bulk file. A few of these that we have checked right now are our sponsored products search term summary report. We've got our sponsored brand search term summary report. We've also got a sponsored brands placement. It's a keyword placement report. That's also a summary version. And then we've got a child ASIN traffic report. So one thing to note is for actually all of these reports, we've downloaded a 30-day, in the test files, we've downloaded a 30-day date range, and the bulk file as well. We've got a 30-day date range. So just a quick point there that kind of all the date ranges mesh up, because what we're going to be doing first here is we're going to be building an audit, and we want kind of all the data to be over the same date range. All right, but we've already got our test files for these ones that we have checked saved in our Ad Tactics Data New folder. You can see they're named with this special code. So when you go to do this for your own account, you're going to want to follow the SOP and just learn how to name these correctly. And you're always going to save them here to the Ad Tactics Data New folder, because the nice thing about this tool is it automatically imports all the data and puts it in the right spot as long as you name them correctly. So with this kind of test demo that we're doing right now, everything's in the right spot because we saved that in the previous video in the right spot. So we're just going to click on Import Supplemental Data. And you're going to see here some data is going to start importing automatically, and then when all is said and done, this import status will come back and take a look at that. It'll show that we've successfully imported all the data. All right, when it's done, you'll see an import complete. You're just going to hit OK, and just give it a quick second. You'll see a finished script here at the top, and it actually takes you back to the settings page. Now we can scroll down, and you'll see that you got a confirmation prompt that everything was imported correctly. All right, so the next step after we've got those supplemental reports in there are we're going to sync kind of all that data together. So it's going to combine our bulk ads file, which we imported first manually, along with these supplemental kind of helper reports that we're going to use to build out our audit really quick. But before we do that, we've got to actually sync all the data together. So we're just going to click this button and let it run. So I'm going to hit yes. All right, so once that's done, you're going to get this prompt that Ad Tactics is ready to rock. And this is really the critical stage when you're using Ad Tactics, that you're pretty much ready to do anything from bid optimization to harvesting new keywords. You can see you can create new campaigns in bulk. You can bulk negate. We're going to be using this last 6 here for the snapshot audit. You can optimize your bids. So just know that when you're doing this on your own data for your own account, this sync operation is really kind of where you need to get to before you can really start getting into the good stuff. So I'm going to hit OK, and you're going to get a finished script there. All right, so the first thing we're going to do, just because it's a really good way to get acclimated with the tool, it's a really good way to get a bird's eye view of how your account's performing right now, is we're going to run this new feature, which is called the snapshot audit. So you're just going to go to this Ad Tactics menu, and you're going to see a lot of advanced features up here at the top. We're actually going to skip all of that. We're just going to go down to snapshot audit. And from this point right here, after we just synced kind of all our data together, we're just going to click this launch snapshot audit. All right, now you're going to see a prompt here, and it's going to prompt you just to make sure you've saved all the correct files to your Ad Tactics folder. You've imported them, and it actually will check automatically. So if you don't have one of these, it's going to throw a flag, but I'm going to hit yes there, and we're just going to let it do its thing here for a second. All right, and then when you get this prompt here, just go ahead and hit OK. And you should see the finished script there, and it's actually going to take you to the snapshot audit. So this is kind of the overview here at the top. You see it combines in blue all of your kind of business report information along with your PPC in orange. You've got a really good campaign level performance summary here. These bars actually correspond to different placements. The snapshot audit's got a way of actually breaking out branded versus non-branded targets. So I don't want to get too in the weeds on this. There's going to be a pretty elaborate SOP with some descriptions of kind of how to utilize the different features in here. But the purpose of this video, again, is just to really get you acclimated with it and show you the step-by-step procedure to kind of get things rolling. So you can choose an ASIN here, and it's going to show you the metrics by ASIN. So if you see, I just click on this, all right, and then it will kind of change dynamically everything related to that ASIN. And you've just got a ton of different things that you can investigate. I'm actually going to back out and show the entire account. Just hit the delete key and it clears that cell. Quick overview again, at the top here is more kind of high level campaign view of your performance. You've got your business performance at the top. You've got a top advertising opportunities. This is going to be an area we're going to focus on a lot in this training. So we'll hop back up there in just a second. Here you've got some different slices of your PPC accounts, so you can expand these areas and just get a bird's eye view of each section. It's going to tell you different information as far as whatever slice you're looking at. So like campaign view, you've got different match type views versus placements views. So a lot of different options there to kind of assess things. Then at the bottom, you've got a pretty in-depth ASIN audit. So it's going to show you either by parent or by child. We've got the ability to do kind of custom groups. Again, I'm not going to get into the weeds too far in this video. You can pick from these drop downs, and it's going to dynamically change the data. If you filter this table, it'll show you the filtered range totals here at the top. So just a ton of different things that you can do with this kind of layout, and there'll be a lot of updates coming as well. So these checkboxes are pretty important to know. It's only going to do the analysis on the areas that you have the boxes checked. That's just kind of an important performance related note. So there's really 3 areas here for the top advertising opportunities section. This first one's going to be related to wasted ad spend. So if you check that, so you'll see there it populates these little tables and it gives you a wasted spend. And what this first section is any search term that we'd recommend taking a look at as far as bulk negating, because you haven't got any orders on any of these search terms and they're adding up to this total. So I'll show you here real quickly how you can take a look at those and then decide if you want to bulk negate some of them. Same with sponsored brands. This one down here is a little more advanced. I'm going to hold off on that, but that has to do with taking a look at all the single individual words in your search terms and then counting up the frequency of those singular words that haven't produced any orders and possibly negative phrasing some of those. But we're going to hold that off till another training. The other sections here, so you've got a area to look at new targets to launch. So these are going to be targets in your sponsored products is the current breakdown that we have right now. We're going to be adding the other ad types soon. But it's going to show you anything that you haven't targeted yet in your active campaigns and just give you suggestions there. You can set an order threshold you see here. So anything that you're looking at has more than 2 orders and you have not targeted those yet in these match types. So we've got a really quick way to create bulk campaigns with ad tactics utilizing this data. We'll go over that in this training. And then lastly, the top performers. So this is going to be the money area where you really want to start if you have an established account. What this does when you check this box, it actually performs what's called a Pareto analysis on all 3 ad types. Let that one load. This one does take a few seconds just because it is doing so much behind the scenes, but really what it's doing, it's finding the top performing targets that we should really be focused on in scaling. And then, also assessing the trends that we're seeing with those keywords, looking for more related keywords that are highly relevant that we could potentially launch. So that's kind of the idea. You can see here what it's doing. It's basically saying, all right, out of the total orders, almost 1,800, 80% of that number is 1,400. So let's figure out the targets that make up those 1,400 orders. And out of the total 236 orders, there's only 34 that are generating 80% of our orders. So you total that up across the other 2 ad types and you get a total of 39 targets. So that's really what we want to focus on based on the data that we have right now for our account over the past 30 days in scaling, in making sure we don't let the momentum of those die and really just start to get a good pulse on the data of our account. So I'm going to show you how to do that, and we're actually going to just set up what's called the bid override table. So this is what the bid override table looks like before you add any information to it. The nice thing about this new snapshot audit is we do have a feature now that automatically will push over those whatever 39 targets. All right, so I'm going to go back to the snapshot audit, and I actually didn't have to come back here to do what I'm about to do. I just wanted to kind of illustrate that this is where the data is actually going to come from. So all you're going to do is you're going to go up to ad tactics, you're going to go to snapshot audit, and you're going to say add top performers to bid override table. So I'm going to click that button there, and it's just going to grab this information here. I'm going to hit yes. And it's going to put it in a special way here on the bid override table so we can assign bid input settings and start to optimize these targets. All right, so I just hit yes on that prompt there. And basically what it was asking is, do I want to sync the bid override table? And that sync operation that we just did basically pulled in all of the metrics for these targets that we have put on the bid override table and pulled in the metrics from our current bulk file. So that's what we're looking at right now. We're looking at the target level, all the orders, the ACoS, everything for these targets that we assigned. And the special override column, there's different types of overrides you can apply in ad tactics. I don't want to get too far in the weeds again in this video, but if you hover over this override header, you'll see you can do target level, which is what we just pulled in automatically. You could also put a campaign name, a portfolio name. You can actually do it by ASIN as well, based on the economics of the product. You can set up your bid input settings. So the whole goal of the bid override table is to get on this dashboard every target that currently matters in your account. It's also a good place to put new kind of test targets that you're working on, seeing if they're going to convert well for you or not. And it's a way to kind of simplify your bid strategy as well, because the way it works is essentially anything that is not a target override on this account, which right now it's everything that's kind of yellow. You can see there's some sponsored brands and some sponsored display that got pulled over as well. And the targets themselves are actually over here. So you can see each row is basically a different keyword, if you will. But anything that doesn't have an override will fall back to this account level row in this example. And with that being understood, you can see how you could pretty much structure this bid override table in an infinite number of ways. Some users will have different portfolios for each product and they'll use only portfolio level overrides. Some will just use the account level row to manage their entire account. And another way you can do it is just a combination. So I could have target level overrides for my targets that I really want to keep focus on. I could have a few campaigns on here. Maybe I have some multi-keyword campaigns that are performing well that I want to bid a little bit differently on those. And then maybe I have branded keywords all in a portfolio, or maybe defensive ASINs in a portfolio, something like that. So you can structure this a bunch of different ways is the point. All right, so to set up our bid override table that we've got in place right now, what I'm going to recommend you do is just carry down the kind of default parameters here that was in the template, and you're just going to select those values just like that. And I've just grabbed here at the bottom right, and I'm just going to drag all the way down to there, and I just let go, and you'll see all that data is just going to populate. And what that's essentially doing is that's allowing us to, if we want to assign a different target ACoS, you've got a low bid, max bid, there's a couple ACoS thresholds. And really, to understand the bid formulas, you'll have to download the logic, and you can download those with these links up here and kind of run through the logic with your calculator. But a really easy feature to use is this bid preview button. So after you assign the input settings, if you click this magnifying glass, at least on the target level, you're going to be able to see the original bid in red here, and then you'll see in blue what the new bid would be if you keep the bid settings as you have them here. So I'll post some additional training there in the challenge area within the members area that you can watch about the bid formulas and setting up the bid parameters. But just know one important thing is when you first set it up, you don't want to go crazy with dropping your new bids based on your original bids, just because you're going to lose momentum, even if you are trying to optimize for ACoS, things like that. So just run down through and make sure, like this one here, I'm at 52%, but based on the current settings that I have, I'm trying to go down all the way from 52 to 25%. So based on the formulas that you'll learn about, the new bid, it could go all the way down to 97 cents base bid. Now I do have a 50% modifier on this, so you might say that, that's okay, but you just want to do a gut check that your initial parameters that you set up, if you do want to use these kind of ratio-based bid input settings, are kind of passing the sniff test. And if they're not, especially like on your top 10% of your targets, so you can see right now the default sort is by orders. You really don't want to lose momentum on the ones that are really carrying your account, because you may be getting certain placements. If you come in and set your bid input settings from the start way too aggressive, you're going to be dropping your bids considerably on some of these that are generating most of your sales. So just be really wary of that, and use this new bid preview button to really get an idea of which variables pull which levers, and really get a good understanding of how the formulas are working before you really start going crazy. The other thing I'll say is this blue column here, you can actually put in an override value, kind of a manual steering override, if you will. So if I put in like $2, for example, and then I do my new bid preview, you'll see that this value changes from 95 cents to $2. So this is a really good way if you want to, for new campaigns, kind of manually steer those for a little while, and then as they get conversions, you can shift over to the bid formulas. There's, again, 4 different bid formulas we have programmed in here right now. A lot of them are what your standard SaaS tools use, like revenue per click times target ACoS. We've also got some more proprietary ones that have historically done really well on a lot of accounts, so you can learn about those as well. So I don't want to, again, get into the weeds too far, especially on bid input settings. That's definitely out of the scope of this training, but just know that really the next step in the process is getting your bid override table set up as you want it to be, so you can stay organized, stay efficient. And really, when it comes to kind of maintaining the account, the only touch point you'll have if you want to tweak things is after you've imported a new bulk file and after you've synced it here. It'll come to this stage here where you can decide based on the new data if you do want to change anything. If not, it's just going to run the bid formulas again based on your input settings and adjust the bids accordingly. So really just math as far as bringing your bids to a level that's going to support a certain ACoS based on the conversion rates and how your current targets are performing. There's a kind of bonus training we'll have at the end of this that'll go over the Target Sniper tool, which is really powerful for tracking daily metrics, especially on your top performing targets. You do have your placement data here in the background too. You can click this little plus and it's going to show you, keep in mind this is at the campaign level. And we've got targets on here, so there may be some campaigns that have a few of these targets in there in the campaign. So you can use this data to make decisions, and some users will, just decide to kind of manually steer their bids as well based on the parameters that they're seeing. So there's a lot of different things you can do with this tool. You can also kind of pre-program your own formulas in there based on all the metrics. So pretty slick, but that is the bid override table and kind of the initial just general setup. One other thing I didn't touch on is this max bid column. You do want to kind of set that higher than any of your current cost per clicks. And that's just going to ensure that the bid formulas have a full range of kind of freedom to adjust the bids. If not, it'll cap it at whatever you set this to. So if I set it at $1 and based on the performance, it is saying it should be at, $1.50, it's still going to set it to $1. So anyway, once you have this kind of set up how you like it, then it's really easy to optimize your bids. And this is the same exact process you'll do on an ongoing basis. You'll just hop in here, you'll choose whichever formula that you're currently using. You'll see you can also optimize all three ad types at once. But for this example, I'm just going to do the sponsored products. So I'm going to just click this button right here. And what it's going to do, it's going to take all the parameters that we've assigned. I'm going to hit yes. And it's going to also use the keyword level metrics of, in this case, our sponsored products campaigns. And the keyword level metrics are here in gray. So it's going to take all of that data into account. And you'll see this new bid column. When I hit OK, it populates with the new bid. And what's nice about that is you've got kind of your old bid in this column, your new bid in this column. And then there's a few different ways you can do a quick audit on this sheet before you create your upload file. One nice one to do is this review bid changes. I'm not going to do it in this training, but you'll see it just spits out a new column that shows you the difference between these, and you can just really get a good gut check on which target increased the most, which target decreased the most, and you can make any fine-tune manual overrides if you want to do that here in this red column before we create our final output file that we're going to upload to Amazon. And when you're ready to do that, it's as easy as going down here to step 3. I did gloss over step 2. There's some more features with updating campaign budgets, placement modifiers that you can take advantage of. There's also a few things that bulk sheets does not support, and we've got some quick scripts here to just remove those rows from your bulk file if you do have those conditions. It's really not going to impact anything in your active account. It just removes them from the bulk file so they're not there when we upload them, throw you an error. But when you're ready to actually create the final output file, it's as simple as clicking this button. In this case, I just did the sponsored products. You will get a prompt here. So when you actually set this up for your own account, if you do want to use it to generate an output file, make sure you read the prompts at least one time to get an understanding of what's going on. This one's actually pretty important because as soon as I do this step, it's going to remove some columns that bulk sheets doesn't support, so it can create that final output. And I want to still use this ad tactics session to show you guys a few other select tools. So I'm actually going to click no, and I'm going to show you a little hack in Google Sheets, just in case you don't learn anything about PPC. At least you'll learn something here. You can actually create versions. So I'm going to hit name current version. I'm just going to call this 425 before upload, and that just tells me if I want to go back to this state, I can go back really easily by clicking that version. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and actually create a final export file just to kind of show you how the process works. So I'm going to hit this button right now, and it's going to generate a output file automatically, and it's going to actually save it in our Google Drive folder, and it's going to be called the FBA Excel export files folder. So it's another folder alongside the FBA Excel tools folder that got automatically generated. And this is just the folder where any kind of automated export file gets sent from ad tactics. There's, KD Boosted, there's the other tools as well that utilize it, but I'm just gonna hit OK. And just to kind of show you where that got sent to, I'm gonna go back to the root drive there on my drive and just click FBA export files. And you'll see that this sponsored products campaigns is our sheet now that we can upload through bulk campaign manager, and then all our bids will be modified to reflect the new optimized changes. So that is how you create a optimized bid file. Now I am going to go back to version history, and I'm going to click see version history just so I can get back in the state that ad tactics was in before I created this kind of final output file. So you can see the one I saved is right here. So I just click on that one time, hit restore this version. So we're back where we need to be now. You can see before we created our optimized bulk file, we have our new bid column. You've got the keyword level metrics. Just know that this is the state of ad tactics you want to be in when you do other operations like bulk negating, building out new campaign files, things like that. We do have code in the tool now that's going to prevent you from actually trying to do some of those features without this state. So, all right, so the next part of this, we're actually going to focus on this 204 and 64 number, and we're going to go and build a bulk negate file that at least bulk negates some of these that we deem are not relevant for our product, and we just want to kind of kill so we don't keep wasting ad spend. One thing I'll mention that when you're setting this up for your own files is on the settings tab before you actually create the snapshot audit is you can change the parameters you see here under the poor performers, or it's called the stoptimizer for the search term. But you can see there's impression and click-through criteria, there's a spend, and there's also a clicks kind of criteria there without any conversions that you can specify. And then that's actually going to trigger the criteria to be used here for the audit, and you can always rerun it as well. So it's under this reduce the wasted ad spend menu. If you just click this run stoptimizer, that's going to rerun the criteria there that your search term reports are subject to. But anyway, long story short is your search term reports are the SPST, that stands for Sponsored Product Search Term Report. Sponsored Brand Search Term Report is SB. If we go to them right after running the snapshot audit, they're actually going to be filtered for anything that is shown up there in the snapshot audit under the reduce wasted ad spend section. So you'll know that that 204 number, I think it was, if I highlight the spend column, it's 204 down here in the bottom right. So this is basically saying that out of that stoptimizer criteria on our settings tab, either the impression limit was triggered, which this one probably was the impression limit possibly, or it could have been actually the spend. Most of these are probably for the spend or the clicks threshold, and no orders. So these search terms are effectively bad search terms. At least they haven't been performing for us. So we can go down through on this select column and decide, do we want to bulk negate any of these so we're no longer going to be devoting ad spend to them. So for the sake of this example, I'm just going to do all of them like this. These ones that are exact match, you likely would probably pause them at the target level on our bulk sheets, which there's kind of other strategies. I'm not going to go over in this video how to do that, but really the research campaigns, your broad phrase, I actually don't have any autos on here, but if I had autos, those would make sense to possibly bulk negate some search terms as well. But really all I'm doing, I'm just making that selection, and then I come up here to the reduce wasted ad spend menu and hit add selected to bulk negate tool. It's just going to send these ones that I've selected over to this other tool within ad tactics. So you'll see there, it's just added those. I can also go to the sponsored brands. It's laid out the exact same way. It's again going to be pre-filtered based on the snapshot audit. And let's just pretend that I want to negate these. So I'm just going to send those guys over. And then once you have that, you can see this first column shows you where they came from. Then you've got the actual search term, which for the search term, you could potentially have ASINs as well if they're in an auto campaign or an ASIN targeting campaign. So you want to be mindful of that. Otherwise, you want to either use negative exact or negative phrase. And these are going to add negations at the ad group level. If you do have the auto an ASIN within an auto campaign or an ASIN targeting, you'll check this third option. Keep in mind in an auto campaign, you can also have keywords. So that for those you'd pick typically negative exact. But for this example, since all these look like keywords, I'm just going to do kind of a blanket negative exact. And then when you have that, it's as simple as going up to this and clicking the create negative upload file. You probably won't get this prompt. I'm actually going to end up removing it. But if you do get it, go ahead and hit yes. And that'll just make sure you kind of have a complete bulk negate file. All right, and you can see at this stage we have a bulk negate file that's ready to upload to Amazon, and it's going to effectively negate using the negative exact match type in these campaign ad groups. So these IDs here are really important. For some reason you don't see these IDs, which you should automatically if you're using ad tactics, but if you're doing this on your own, You'd always want these IDs in there for the bulk negate, otherwise they're not going to work. So that's the bulk negate file. To actually create it, an exportable version that you can upload through the bulk ops manager, you're just going to click export to Google Drive. Again, it's going to send it to the export files folder, just like our optimization file we built. And that is pretty much it. I hope you guys are getting this and how powerful it is. The next thing we want to do is create a bulk campaign file. So new campaigns that we want to target if we go back to our audit. All right, so we just bulk negated these keywords here, or the search terms rather. Now we're going to be focused on the new campaigns we want to launch. So this dashboard is really just showing us a kind of macro view, aggregated totals for each match type. We'll be able to go in with the sequence I'm about to show you and really just customize based on whatever parameters we want any new search terms that we're going to want to put in campaigns. But you can see you could change this threshold here, and it's just going to dynamically adjust these parameters. So anyway, to actually deploy new campaigns using our search term report, we do have a bulk campaign builder that's built in that ties into the search term report. There's also a standalone bulk campaign builder that you can use to literally create hundreds of campaigns at once if you have your own list, but this is just using our search term report in the example we're going into today. So to do that, what we're going to do is just come over to the spend, and we're going to actually reset this search term report. So you're just going to click the reset search term report button. And then what I want you to focus on now is the black columns over here on the right. So SKW-E means single keyword exact. Those are some campaigns that I really like to launch, especially when you're first kind of getting started and targeting top of search. So for this example, what I'm going to do, I'm going to select the blanks, and that's going to show me any row where I don't have the search term in an active campaign. It's really smart if you do this one ASIN at a time, just so you don't kind of confuse yourself and end up creating a ton of campaigns at once. So I'm going to actually just do ASIN. I'll pick this first guy here. You keep in mind you can have multi-ASIN campaigns or single ASIN campaigns. When you're using your search term report, the most accurate way to do this is just use it for single ASIN campaigns. We've also got some additional columns in here that you won't find in a general search term report, like single versus multi. That's what that means. It's single ASIN versus multi-ASIN. The status will tell you if it's a currently active campaign or not, that's active at the target level as well. And then you've got a negation column here that'll tell you if you've already negated it. But when you're ready to actually create new campaigns, I recommend one ASIN at a time. The single ASIN campaigns are going to be the most accurate to do this process with. And then you're just going to pick orders, and then you could do a criteria of like 3 orders or more. In this example, I'm just going to do our top few here just for the sake of the example. All right, and then you could obviously throw in like an ACOS parameter if you want. All these parameters you can easily filter by. And then what you're going to do is decide which campaign types we want to put these in. So there's a pretty slick way that Ad Tactics has a inline campaign builder, and it's built in a few spots. There's this search term report view. There's also a really advanced Ad Tactics dashboard, which is totally out of the scope of this video, but you can check out the video on the homepage to really get an understanding of what's going on with that dashboard. But for the sake of this example, what I'm going to do is just check these boxes, and you can follow along and just do the same process. And then I'm going to actually use 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'm going to actually do some phrase campaigns as well. And I'm going to put the number 1 in all of these, and I'm going to show you why in a second. All right. And what I'm going to do before I hit the go button, I'm going to go over here to the custom campaign naming tool and just make sure I'm okay with kind of this custom naming scheme. I've got a single keyword mode on. It's not going to make sense for the phrase campaign I just built, and I'll show you why in a second, but for the rest of this stuff, it's generally okay. So I'll leave that. All right, and I'm going to go back now to my search term report, and I'm just going to come up to Ad Tactics now. This is actually part of the keyword harvesting features in Ad Tactics, and I'm going to click Build Campaigns. Now you see it's going to automatically take you over to the bulk campaign builder. If you've already were using the bulk campaign builder for something else, that's okay. It's going to automatically override it. We're going to create new keyword campaigns right now, so I hit the number 1, and I'm just going to hit OK. You see it's going to clear everything, and it's actually going to automatically import that data into our bulk campaign builder within Ad Tactics. So you'll see we created 4 single keyword campaigns that were exact match, and we created that multi-keyword phrase match. So that's why you see the keywords here on their own line. And then we've got the SKU that automatically got populated. You've got the match type. The red means right now you've got the campaign names that are all named the same, but we're going to take care of that by hitting the update custom names. And it's going to take into account the nomenclature that we set on the settings tab and automatically populate. You can see that single keyword campaign mode actually puts the keyword in the campaign name. This last one here, I said it wasn't going to make sense because it literally took all 4 of those and put it in the campaign name. So the way you'd really want to do this, if you wanted this this structure, is you'd have to do 2 batch runs where you just create 2 output files, and you could do all your multi-keyword campaigns at once. Disable the single keyword campaign mode, obviously, for those, and then you've got your single keyword campaigns that are looking good here. But for the sake of this example, I think you get the gist of it. So I'm just going to hit create campaign upload file. This is sponsored products, so I'm going to hit that. And then similarly to the optimization file and the bulk negate file we built, it's going to create a upload file for new campaigns. You see these ones that look kind of weird at the rows. It's because the campaign name there was extra long. But you can see you've got each section here is kind of a new campaign. You've got a campaign row, ad group row, product ad, and keyword. At this stage, if you do want to change the target level bid, you can edit that in this column here. But for the sake of this example, I'm just going to keep it. And then what you'll do is just hit export to Google Drive. It's going to send it to the export files folder, and you'll be able to upload that as well. Ad Tactics does have the capabilities right now to update existing sponsored products campaigns. So a lot of advanced features on the campaign builder there that saves a lot of time. I hope you guys are getting all this and appreciate it. I think it's super powerful. You'll definitely feel like you've improved your efficiency 10x. If you start deploying some of these SOPs and strategies going forward. So the last thing I wanted to cover is really an advanced feature of Ad Tactics, and it's called the Target Sniper tool. And we're going to go back to the bid override table and kind of end this demo with a bang. So one of the easiest ways you can do well with PPC is focus on what's already working. And in order to really do that effectively, you need to be tracking what's already working on a daily basis. And I know that sounds kind of daunting, but it's actually not. So what we're going to do is, when you do this for your own account, I'll again throw some training in the members area, but it's a feature within this menu called the Target Sniper. You do need to download a special report, and you've got to click a few buttons here, but it's really fast, and I've already got the file saved for the test file, so I'm just going to deploy that right now. All you'll do is go File, Import, and then we're going to go to the same place we saved all the other files, so Ad Tactics New. And you'll see in there a 60-day targeting report. So this feature actually allows you to go back 60 whole days and look at the daily data. And I'm going to do insert new sheet. All right, so you can see that brought in this keyword report. And this is actually a daily version, so it could be a ton of data. Depending on how big your actual files are in your account, you may need to disable at this stage the audit before you bring that in. And to disable the audit, you just go to snapshot audit disable, and then that will conserve some of the resources that the snapshot audit takes up, so you can deploy this targeting sniper tool. But for the sake of this demo, I don't think it's going to be a problem, so I'm just going to roll with it. So I'm going to come up here now, target sniper, I'm going to initialize it. So that's the first step, and you'll see that this tab actually just changes names, and it actually does a quick kind of optimization step there. So I'm going to hit OK. All right, and then the only thing you need to make sure of is that you've got all of the targets as set as target level overrides. This is only going to work for, it actually works for target or campaigns, but it's more useful for the target level overrides. So I've got the ones on there that I'm going to want to look at. Again, the targets are right here. You can actually expand this plus button. I don't think I covered that before, to see some other campaign details, but there's actually a lot to this bid override table that I haven't covered now that I look at it. But again, there's other training, and that's kind of out of the scope of this. So once you're ready, you're just going to come back up and launch it. So I'm going to hit Launch Target Sniper. And I actually forgot one step. I'm going to hit No there. The test data here, I don't have a file that's got updated information. So let me see what the latest date is. So it looks like 10/3. So I'm just going to actually go back before I launch this, and the template by default will be set to the current date, but for this example that doesn't really make sense. So I'm going to, you click this plus button, all right, and you'll see 425. We said it was 10/4, and that was actually 2022. All right, so I'm going to use that, and now I'm going to launch it. So I'm going to go File, Target Sniper, Launch. All right, I'm gonna hit yes, and I'll hit OK. All right, so there we go. We've got all of our metrics now for the past 60 days. So anything that has 3 or more orders in this example is green. And what you can do, if you go over to the rows here on the very far left, and if you double click in between one of them, you'll see that it expands actually all of the PPC data over the course of the past 60 days. So where this is really powerful is you can go back and see if you were at one time performing really well and it's dropped off for whatever reason. Just a ton of different applications. We've got advanced features with Helium-10. You can import rank files. You can see your organic sponsored ranks. You can track notes. A lot of different features with this. So that is the Target Sniper tool. And for the sake of this training video, there is one more button I want to show you how to use, and that is the reset button. So with ad tactics, it's a cyclical tool, meaning you import data for the date range that you want to analyze stuff with. You create your output files, and then you kind of reset the tool back to its default state. Then the next session, when you want to use it, you're going to import new data. That's kind of the purpose of this first menu you see here. There'll be, again, an SOP when you want to use this for your own data to show you how to download, and it is pretty quick and efficient with these scripts. But the actual button I want to show you in this video is this reset button. So I'm actually just going to click it right now, and what it's going to do, it's going to basically remove any files that are saved down here at the bottom that we're not going to need for the next use case. So just give it a second here, and then when you get a prompt, just go ahead and hit OK, and then you'll be redirected back to the settings tab. You'll see the audit was reset as well, so it's not shown anymore. All our bulk files are gone, our Target Sniper, all that data is gone, and it's now ready for the next import, where you're just going to import a bulk file, import and download any supplemental data, and then sync everything. You're kind of back to the beginning of this training video with deploying, the tool. And some of the features are optional, like you don't have to run the snapshot audit. You can, within 5 minutes, import a bulk file, create an optimized output file, and you're off to the races with that. So there's a lot of different kind of directions you can head with this tool. This video was just a demonstration of how to utilize some of the more popular features. Hope you guys enjoyed it. That's pretty much it for this training video. If you have a free challenge account right now, it's going to be active for 7 days from when you first signed up. And then it's automatically going to close, so you won't have access to the tool anymore. You can always sign up for the $1 trial, get an extra 7 days. That's just a one-time thing per user. You also get access to all of our other very popular tools. If you haven't heard of KD Boosted, I'd recommend you hop over to the homepage, or if you're in the members area, check that out at the top of the page in the overview section. It's definitely one of our more popular keyword research tools. It can be used hand in hand with ad tactics, and it's just a super powerful 1-2 punch once you get into it and learn the tools and operations. So thanks again, guys. I really appreciate you going through this challenge. I hope you learned something, and if not, well, it was free. So peace out. Later.
Anh chị đang bán hàng trên Amazon. Skyrock cung cấp các dịch vụ dành cho các nhà bán hàng trên Amazon với mức giá cực kỳ ưu đãi như đăng ký brand với USBTO, từ Thêm, từ chơi Scout, logistics và warehouse. Xem thêm thông tin chi tiết dưới phần mô tả nhé.